Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. Let's go out for a treasure hunt. I have got a garage sale lined up that looks really right up my alley in terms of having lots of pop culture items, comic books, that sort of thing. Then there's a community garage sale I want to hit up and some other things along the way, possible estate sales, some multifamily garage sales. Right now, the cupboard is bare, but let's see what we could go out there and grab. All right, well, I am at the sale, and I cannot tell from this vantage point what is going on over there. It doesn't look like there's a lot of stuff that was advertised, although there's cars blocking my way. So we'll see when we get over there. I just see a lot of shirts and a lot of coolers on the ground. So hopefully all the collectibles and comics and stuff are hidden on the other side. We'll see. Okay, thanks. I knew I didn't have a good feeling about that when I saw that driveway. When I turned the corner, there really was not much else there. There were the two boxes that I just showed you. Now, I couldn't put the volume on over there because, and talk into the camera, because the people who were running that sale were just hovering right over me. So I just basically filmed what was in the boxes just to give you a sense. There were the two boxes. The first one I showed you was a box of comic books. Now, for those of you who know that I specialize in dealing in comic books, and I do very, very well in comic books, make a lot of money with it, but that is an example of what not to pick up, and you will see something like that often at garage sales. They'll be priced for about $1 or more each issue, and they're just random modern books that don't fit any particular theme or anything like that. So what you are looking for are to find complete series of books, or you're looking to find older books from the 80s or the 70s or below, or if they're more modern ones, you're looking for popular titles like Deadpool or Amazing Spider-Man or Venom. Ones like that. You're not looking for those kind of random books like Tarzan. No one's collecting Tarzan, trust me. No one's going to want that. That would sit forever. No one will buy it. Even though they had several of them, that's just a title that's just not popular these days. So you'd have to go back in a time machine to sell those comics. So be careful about that. You never want to pay, period. You don't want to pay $1 per comic book. As I've said before in other videos, when you're buying bulk collections of comics, you want to be anywhere between 15 to 20 cents or less. The other books that I showed you in that other box, they wanted $2 a piece, which was double of what you would want to pay for those. And the ones that they had there up top, they had Cracked magazine, which is really kind of the ugly stepchild to Mad magazine, and nowhere near as popular and not as valuable. So the Mad magazines themselves I'll pick up for $1 a piece if they're from the 1980s or earlier. The Cracked magazines I tend to stay away from unless they're older. Like they have to be pretty much from early 80s, 70s, something like that. Then there were some books underneath those called the How and Why, the Wonder books. There's some golden books and stuff like that. Those are sometimes worth picking up if you could get them in lots. They did have several of the How and Why books, but they wanted $2 a piece, and the ones that they had were pretty yellowed inside, and they had some writing and pencil marks on the outside that were kind of etched in, like they're drawn in whiskers all over the animals with pencil. not worth it. So you don't want to get that type of stuff. But if you do find a big lot of How and Why Wonder Books, pick them up, try to get them for, you know, $1 a piece or less, and you could sell those in a lot and make pretty good money with those. I've done that before. But I walked away with zero, zilch, nada, and so I'm gonna head off somewhere else now. All right, this looks at least a little bit more promising compared to the one that I was just at. I mean, good grief with that place. This is part of a community garage sale, so there will be several garage sales going on at once in the same development. I highly recommend that you check those out because you could get a lot done in an efficient amount of time. So we're going to check this one out, see if there's anything there, and head on to the other ones as well. How much you got on the hats?
Oh, is no price on the hats?
No, I didn't see anything.
$2 maybe?
Yeah. Would you go $1 on it?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. This is pretty cool. Corvette 1982. Definitely gonna grab that. That's neat. Definitely so. Down here, this is pretty cool. This is a marble run. It's wooden. Basically, you put the marble right here, run it down, goes into the little slot there, comes down. Should spin that wheel right there. Goes down, 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 right into here. Clean that up real easily. $3. It's really light. Very good find. These sell really well. They could sell up to like $88 just for basic ones. So this one's pretty cool, and it's definitely old. Marble fail. We're gonna try to fix this up, see if we can get this fixed. So I don't think it's actually broke. I think what it's designed to do is this. Follow it that way. Then push this up like this. Let it go. Then go like that. And it goes in there. And go like that. And then it goes the rest of the way. There you go. So that was really cool. Wound up getting the Corvette hat, which this one, you know, sells for around anywhere 15, 18 bucks. So got for it for $1. That's gonna go off first class. Got this really cool Corvette 1982, you know, plate rim. This is really cool. Laura Cohn should love that one, right, Laura? Also got this really, I thought this is just incredible fun. I love these little spinning wheels that they have here. This vintage marble run, really neat for only $3. Got everything there for a total of $5. Got my, this is what you do, by the way, with cash receipts. Just, you know, get a little receipt book like this. I pick them up at garage sales, estate sales. You can find these types of things, or just a regular notepad is fine, and just ask them to sign the receipt. I don't have to put their name on it, but just as long as they can just initial it like you see down here. This helps you keep track of things for taxes at the end of the year. It proves that you're purchasing the things that you say you are purchasing. Otherwise, if you just write everything off in terms of expenses and you don't have any way to prove it like this, you could get nailed by the IRS, and that's not going to hold up in an audit. So don't be ashamed. Take one of these around. Ask people to sign no matter what the purchase price is. Write the address on there. I kept it out for the purpose of this video, but you can see there I'm in the city of Liverpool, and that's how you do it. The other thing that I am going to do from now on in my little bag of tricks and tools, I am going to keep something new, which is a marble. Fortunately, she had a marble. I didn't think to come and be prepared with a marble, but I'd never run across a marble run like that before. No pun intended. I am going to add this to my bag of tricks. I'll always have one if I ever find one again. Just kind of learn on the way that you're doing these things. Let's head off to the next sale. All right, pulled up to another one. We'll see if there's any good things inside that garage. Doesn't look too great on the driveway, but you never know when you get in the garage. And looky here, this is a whole set of thimbles. We got 100 thimbles per case. Got one here.
I think it says 40 on it.
Got one over here. Some down there as well. So we will see if we can do any kind of deal. It's like I said, before we walked up to that garage, you never know what's inside the garage. You can't judge what's in the garage always based on what's outside on the driveway. So in the back corner, what I just showed you were those sets of thimbles, and I wound up purchasing them, and very interesting stories along the way in terms of how this went down. So I just showed you one of these in there, so I can't really pull these out in detail right now, but what I will tell you is that these belonged to a 104-year-old woman who had been collecting these for decades. They were being sold in there by her grandson. The woman had passed away recently, and so here's another set of them here just to show you I purchased all of them. I have the third set down there. So it came to a matter of me figuring out a price because I've never purchased a set of thimbles before. I've never purchased a marble run before, but that was an easy one because that was $3. I knew he wasn't going to give these away necessarily. So I asked him how much he wanted for them, and it was one of those situations, and you're going to run into this with negotiating, is he did not want to give me a price. He had a price in mind. Now, what I suggest in those situations is to push it a little bit and say, try to hold off a little bit. Are you sure you don't have a price in mind? Not sure what you want to get for it. Sometimes people will give in on that and throw out a price for you, because what's going on in that situation obviously is you, as the person trying to acquire it, doesn't want to throw out a price too high, but that person doesn't want to throw out a price too low. And you want to be careful when you're throwing out your price that you're not being too insulting to the person, especially since this belonged to his grandmother of 104 years old. So what I had to do there on the spot is I had to quickly figure out what the comps were for this. So what I did was I looked at the completed solds on them on the eBay app and found that a set of 100 will sell for as high as $121 and will sell for as low as $70. They pretty much, the vast majority of these things sell. So they have a good sell-through rate. Then what the task was to find, okay, what is the cheapest that someone's currently selling a lot of 100 of these for? And the cheapest you could get them, and now this includes the wood case, would be $89 free shipping. So that tells me information, everything that I need to know. So I need to try to get these for around $20 a piece. When I say $20 a piece, I'm not talking about the third one because there's not many in there. I'm talking $20 for each full case with the other one thrown in. So that would be all of them for a total of $40. All 3 sets like that. So I threw out the price of $40 to him, and this doesn't happen too often, but the guy actually said to me, $40 sounds fine. They're yours for $40. So there's the receipt right there. If you could see it, there we go. Got them for $40. Now, the other interesting thing that happened along the way, which has really not happened to me before, especially given my size, as some of you know, I'm 6'6", 250 pounds. I'm standing there in the corner. As I said, I had to do a little bit of research there to figure out that I was making a smart move for my business. So in doing that, I've got to look some things up on the phone, and a guy came into the garage sale after me. I'm already there. I'm established in the garage, in my spot in the corner, looking this stuff up. I'm standing right over it. The guy sees that I'm doing that and makes an aggressive move and reaches over into my personal space, grabs the one of these cases like this, and he just takes it over and he puts it down onto his area. Now, that's a point where you've got to stick up for yourself, and you can't let someone come in and pull a bully aggressive move like that. So you have to say, you can say it politely, but you still have to say assertively, sorry, excuse me, that was my stuff, I'm looking at it. And then he immediately hits back with, well, what do you mean you're looking at it? What exactly are you looking at? I said, I'm looking at the set of thimbles. And he says, well, they're not a set. And I said, well, yeah, they are, because I'm considering buying every single one of them. So I would buy them as a lot or as a set. So he says, well, you're just standing there looking on your phone and so I said to him, hey, you know what? It's, you got to get with the times. People are sitting there looking on their phones when they're at sales. That's a common thing to do. The guy who was running the sale didn't bother him any. So the guy stormed off in a huff, and he's standing there at the edge of the driveway, I think waiting to see whether or not I'm going to make the purchase and whether or not the deal's going to go through. And boy, I'll tell you, I was really happy that deal went through, because the guy saw that the deal went through, and as soon as he saw that, he headed out of there. And that's just something that, you know, is going to happen, I guess, every once in a while. But, you know, you got to stand up for yourself, and you can't let people, you know, push you around, bully you around at these sales. You know, what's right is right. And that's this rule that I respect. If somebody got to a spot first and they have possession of the item and they're looking it up, that's their item. They got it. You can't just go over there and rip it out of their hands. Now, you know, if it's a whole pile of stuff that's loose in a certain area, like a whole pile of clothes that's free for, you know, multiple people to look through at once, that's a different story. So, you know, just keep that in mind when you're, you know, when you're going to these sales, that you'll run into this once in a while. Now, one way that you can reduce some of the chances that this happens, again, make sure you're staying close to your item. And another thing that you can do is make sure you kind of keep a hand on your item, or if it's a smaller item, is to actually physically take it and put it in your box. If you're carrying a box around with you or something like that, just to, you know, make it very clear that this is something that you're, you know, currently actively dealing with. But again, once in a while, you'll deal with somebody like that. And, you know, these are the types of people that troll Facebook groups and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one up, Breaking Dawn, for $1. Tell you why in just a moment. Okay, so the reason why I wound up picking this one up for $1 is because of that date right there, 11/18/11. This is when the movie came out, Breaking Dawn. And so it's from the Twilight series. Was hugely popular, you know, back then. Not as popular anymore. So most Breaking Dawn t-shirts, you know, your average shirt with the characters on it, you know, they're not going to sell for much. But if you have something that's like a promo item or something like this that has a date on it like that, you know, that movie led the box office for a while, and there's lots of people that went to see that at the time. So, you know, lots of fans of that series still might want to pick this up just because it has that kind of nostalgic and vintagey feel to it. So this is going to be an easy sale, no-brainer. Pick this one up, you know, a minimum probably of like 20 for it, maybe even more. So we'll see. Oh, well, look what we have here, a free table. And one thing that Miss Primetime really loves are owls. And so I think I'm going to pick her up this little owl and this one. So she'll like that. Take a look if there's anything else here. You know, you'll see these a lot at sales, these wood lacquered prints. They're not worth anything in general, so they look really cool. They look vintage. If you want to pick one up for yourself, they often have this little hanging clip on the back. But if you think you're going to resell it for a lot of money, no, it's not really going to happen. So just be careful about those. All right, let's see over here. Anything in these books? You know, I could just quickly figure out by looking at these. These aren't really worth anything. Yeah, you got a scrapbook here. See if there's anything inside the scrapbook. There's not. So, and it's also broken, so we're not going to get that. You know, look through these shirts. Now, this is kind of cool. You know, a Chinatown shirt, you could definitely see something like that selling with a dragon on it, a large. You know, I'll just look it over later, make sure there's no, you know, rips or anything in it, but for free, no brainer. Just pick it up and look it up later. Let's see, Wesleyan University, SUNY Albany. Nope, that's it. So I wound up getting a t-shirt for free that I could probably flip for like $15, $20. Got a couple of gifts for Mrs. Primetime. And there's a little bit of jewelry over here, but you could just tell by picking this stuff up that it is not, you know, anything real. All right, there was someone standing right next to me while I was looking at those owls, which is why I wasn't saying anything, but I wanted to get them on film just to show you the reason why I didn't pick those up. Those are very common owls. They are vintage, but vintage doesn't always sell because they're just so common and they are cheaply made. You'll see them all over eBay. They're basically made of this styrofoam material that you see on the back. Now, I picked up this little one because my wife will think it's cute, doesn't take up a lot of room. But the bigger ones, there's no sense picking up because they're just not going to move. Even if you try to sell them for like 15 bucks for 3 of them, it's just not happening. So, you know, it was a good little pickup for Miss Primetime. The thing for me that I like with this Chinatown shirt is I didn't realize it was there. It's also Chinatown, New York. So definitely going to sell. It is a large. There's no defects in it. Also got a little owl plaque from his prime time. So scoring a few brownie points today, as well as picking up some items that are free. Can't do much better than that. Free brownie points with Miss Primetime. Love it. Moving on to the next thing.
These are interesting. Jeez. Oh, wow. Halloween decorations, huh?
Yeah, we don't decorate anymore.
Wow. Oh, I'm on a sale now where this guy has got, you're going to see, he has got just tons of books. There's just hundreds of them all over the place. I'm in his garage, but you can see out there, there's just a ton of them. Now, just as a quick tip, if you see that a lot of them are these oversized military ones, they generally don't sell well. They are often mass-produced books by, at Barnes & Noble, kind of like the coffee table books, and they, really don't sell that well in general. So you got to kind of pick out the gems. Like, right there, we've got a Betty Crocker picture cookbook, so we're going to check that one out. See if there's anything good with this one, if it's like a first edition or something. So let's see. Got writing inside. Doesn't really matter so much for a cookbook. It is a first edition. So I'm gonna check this out some more. A lot of books. Wow. Mostly all military. Amazing.
Okay, so out of all of those military books, I did not buy a single one of them. They were pretty much all essentially worthless. You could pick some up and probably make a few bucks on them, but it's just really not worth it for those types of books. Just best keeping them behind and not even bothering to scan those. There were some older ones that you should pick up and take a look at, things from like the 50s and 40s and that sort of stuff. But when I opened them up, they were all damaged and, pretty significantly so. So in a situation like that, what I'm looking for is the thing that's different. And this was the thing that was different. This was the gem in the rough. This is the first edition, first printing Betty Crocker cookbook. Now, I showed you earlier how to identify that it's a first edition. It's obvious because it says first edition on it. But if you notice down below here where it has the dates and stuff like that, it says nothing about a printing. Now, if it says nothing about a printing, that means it is a first printing. Sometimes it will literally say first printing, but if it doesn't say that, that means by default that it is a first printing, because if it's not, it has to say second printing, third printing, fourth printing, something like that. So there's nothing like that in there, and the pages are really in great shape. This was one of the few books there that didn't have any significant damage to it. The colors are really nice, so happy with that. The binding is nice and strong. That's another thing you're looking for. Don't worry for an old book like this, a nice Betty Crocker book, if it has a little fading on the edge, that's totally fine. And while for most books I tell you to put it away if it had a lot of writing inside of it, a cookbook is an exception. If a cookbook has a vintage recipe written on the inside of it, that is not going to significantly affect the value. This book typically sells first edition, first printing for 50 bucks. I picked it up for $1. Okay, so it depends on the buyer. Someone will like that recipe written inside, someone won't, but in general, so that's generally not going to bother somebody from holding back and making a purchase. All right, everybody, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I do have a lot of other things I have to get to today, and I'm very satisfied with the results of this primetime treasure hunt. There were a lot of really great items I found today. And although part of the reason for doing this video is to, show you those great items and show you some of the great scores that I made, really the main reason why I do the videos is to show you in the actual areas where I'm going, how I'm finding these things, where they're located, search strategies that you need to use to find them, and also just trying to emphasize throughout the course of a day or several hours, how you really need to diversify your product inventory. It's okay to have that one particular product that you really know a ton about, whether it's comic books or clothes or games and toys, it doesn't matter. You know, have that thing, that's great to have, but to be successful or to be extra successful, it's really, really important to diversify your product inventory. So that's why you saw those different types of things that I wound up getting today. Also, it's real important that when you go to these sales that you take off your blinders. What I mean by that, and we all have this, is that our mind is kind of preset to look for certain things that we know have some value, that we are drawn to because we like them. But you have to take a step back and look around the area that you're in and really analyze some of the items and say, what exactly is that? That looks like something, I would just pass up because it looks like a piece of wood and I'm not really interested in wooden stuff. So maybe you pass it by, but then you realize, wait a minute, look at it a little closer. This thing is pretty cool. You know, this is that marble runner thing that I wound up purchasing. So, you know, that's what led me to found the boxes of thimbles. Now, in reality, I could care less about thimbles. I have zero interest in anything that has to do with thimbles. The only thing that I have an interest in related to thimbles is I know just monetarily that when I invest $20 per 100 thimbles, that I'm going to make a profit on. And when I invest 40 and over 200 of them, that I could bulk them together and I could do even better. So that's the reason why you want to diversify and you want to look outside of, you know, wherever your blinders are. Make sure you try to get them off when you go to these sales. Look at walls, look what's right below your feet, you know, look under tables, just look places you normally would not be trained to put your eye towards and start searching those areas. So with that, I am going to go home and I'm going to relax and enjoy the rest of the day after I take care of a few errands now. And that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. That treasure chest pops up at the end. Make sure you hit that or subscribe somewhere else on this channel. Remember, I said the goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're well over 500 at this point, so hopefully we could get there. Look forward to doing more videos for you over the course of the next week. And also, don't forget to comment down below. I'm really enjoying getting a chance to interact with all of you in the comments section. So I really, really enjoy that. So make sure you leave a comment, ask a question, whatever. I'd love to get a chance to interact with you some more. See you at the next video, everyone. Take care.